How to stop overthinking and think clearly. Introduction. Imagine a life where your mind is razor sharp, your thoughts flow effortlessly, and overthinking no longer holds you hostage. In a world drowning in distractions, mental fog, and never-ending noise, the ability to think clearly isn't just an advantage, it's a superpower. Yet for most people, their thoughts feel like an unstoppable storm, swirling with doubts, what-ifs, and endless possibilities that lead to paralysis instead of progress. Overthinking drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and keeps you trapped in a loop of indecision. It magnifies problems that don't exist, turns small choices into overwhelming burdens, and creates stress that suffocates your peace of mind. But what if you could train your mind to cut through the noise and embrace clarity? What if you could silence the inner critic, declutter your thoughts, and make decisions with confidence and ease? This book is your blueprint. It's a guide to rewiring your thought patterns, breaking free from mental loops, and developing a structured way of processing information that leads to sharper judgment and smarter choices. Through simple yet powerful techniques, you'll learn how to step back from the chaos, gain perspective, and take control of your mental space. If you're tired of second-guessing every decision, feeling overwhelmed by uncertainty, or letting overthinking dictate your life, then it's time for a change. It's time to regain mental clarity, sharpen your focus, and think with precision. Chapter 1. Mastering Mental Clarity, the Art of a Focused Mind. Clear thinking begins with clarity, yet most people struggle with a mind full of scattered thoughts, constant worries, and overwhelming mental noise. When your thoughts are cluttered, it becomes difficult to make decisions, leading to stress, anxiety, and a sense of being stuck. Imagine your mind as a desk piled high with papers, books, and random objects. Finding what you need becomes a frustrating task. The same happens with your thoughts when your mind is overloaded. To gain true mental clarity, you must first remove the unnecessary noise that fills your mind and clouds your judgment. One of the most effective ways to cultivate mental clarity is by setting clear priorities. Many people feel overwhelmed because they are constantly juggling multiple thoughts, trying to solve too many problems at once. This creates mental fatigue and makes it hard to focus on what truly matters. Instead of tackling everything at the same time, start by identifying your top priorities. What are the few things that truly deserve your attention right now? When you consciously decide what's important and what can wait, your mind naturally becomes less chaotic. Another key practice in developing mental clarity is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in the moment, observing your thoughts without being controlled by them. Often, our minds are either stuck in the past, replaying old mistakes, or racing into the future, worrying about what might happen. This mental time travel prevents us from seeing things clearly. By practicing mindfulness, through meditation, deep breathing, or simply paying full attention to the task at hand, you train your brain to focus and reduce unnecessary mental clutter. Even taking a few moments to breathe deeply and bring your awareness to the present moment can sharpen your thinking and help you see things more clearly. Simplicity is another crucial factor in clear thinking. Many people make things more complicated than they need to be, analyzing every detail and getting lost in unnecessary information. Learning to simplify complex problems allows your mind to process information efficiently. One way to do this is by breaking things down into smaller, more manageable steps. Instead of looking at a problem as one overwhelming challenge, dissect it into parts and handle them one by one. This method not only makes decision-making easier, but also helps you avoid feeling paralyzed by too many choices. Instead of overloading your brain with endless possibilities, train yourself to focus on what truly matters. In today's fast-paced world, distractions are everywhere. Social media notifications, constant emails, background noise, and the never-ending stream of information. Your ability to think clearly depends on how well you manage these distractions. One powerful technique to sharpen your focus is deep work, a state of undisturbed concentration where you eliminate all external distractions and immerse yourself in one meaningful task at a time. This means setting aside specific times for deep thinking, turning off notifications, and creating an environment that supports concentration. It's essential to create an environment that nurtures focus. Your surroundings impact your thinking more than you realize. A messy, noisy, or chaotic environment can create a restless mind, while a clean, organized, and quiet space fosters clarity. Pay attention to where you work, the people you interact with, and even the type of information you consume daily. The more intentional you are about your external environment, the more control you will have over your mental space. When your mind is clear, decision-making becomes effortless, and confidence follows naturally. You no longer second-guess every thought or feel overwhelmed by endless possibilities. Instead, you develop a sense of certainty and calmness, allowing you to act with purpose and precision. By practicing mindfulness, eliminating distractions, simplifying problems, and focusing on what truly matters, you will master the art of a focused mind, one that is sharp, decisive, and free from unnecessary clutter. Chapter 2. Stop overthinking. Break free from the mental loop. Overthinking is one of the biggest obstacles to mental clarity and peace of mind. It creates a cycle where your brain continuously replays past mistakes, analyzes every possible outcome, and magnifies problems that don't even exist yet. This endless mental loop can leave you feeling drained, anxious, and unable to make decisions. Instead of moving forward with confidence, you get stuck in a cycle of hesitation, second-guessing every choice you make. The more you overthink, the more your mind becomes cluttered, making it even harder to see things clearly. Breaking free from overthinking is essential if you want to think clearly and live with a sense of ease. One of the first steps to overcoming overthinking is recognizing when it happens. Many people overthink without realizing it, believing they are just being careful or thorough in their thinking. But there is a difference between productive thinking and endless rumination. Productive thinking leads to solutions and actions, while overthinking keeps you trapped in doubt and inaction. Ask yourself, are you actually solving a problem, or are you just replaying the same thoughts over and over? Bringing awareness to this distinction is the first step towards stopping the cycle. A practical technique to stop overthinking is setting a decision deadline. Many times, overthinking happens because we fear making the wrong choice, so we delay decisions, hoping that more time will bring clarity. But often, the opposite happens. The more time you spend overthinking, the more doubts creep in. To break this pattern, give yourself a time limit to make decisions, whether big or small. For example, if you're debating something minor, like what to wear or where to eat, give yourself 30 seconds to decide. For more significant decisions, set a deadline of a few hours or days, depending on the complexity of the situation. Once your deadline arrives, commit to your decision and move forward without looking back. Another powerful way to stop overthinking is learning to trust yourself. Overthinkers often lack confidence in their own judgment, feeling the need to analyze every possible outcome before taking action. But the truth is, no decision is ever 100% guaranteed to be perfect. Life is full of uncertainty, and waiting for absolute certainty only leads to more mental paralysis. Start trusting that you have the ability to handle whatever comes next. Make your decision, and if adjustments are needed later, you can adapt. The ability to adjust and improve along the way is far more valuable than trying to predict every possible outcome before taking action. Journaling can also be a great tool to clear mental clutter and stop overthinking. When thoughts stay trapped in your head, they often seem bigger and more complicated than they actually are. Writing down your thoughts helps you gain perspective and structure them in a way that makes more sense. If you find yourself overthinking, take a few minutes to write down your concerns, possible solutions, and a simple action plan. This will help you move from overanalyzing to taking productive steps forward. Another effective strategy is challenging your thoughts. Overthinking is often fueled by fear-based thoughts that are exaggerated and unrealistic. Your brain might tell you, if I make this decision, everything will go wrong, or if I say the wrong thing, people will judge me forever. But if you take a step back and analyze these thoughts logically, you'll often realize they are not as rational as they seem. Ask yourself, is this thought based on facts or just fear? What is the worst that could realistically happen? More often than not, the fears driving your overthinking are much less significant than you initially believed. To break free from overthinking, it's also important to engage in activities that quiet your mind. Overthinking thrives when you are inactive, allowing your mind to wander endlessly. Physical movement, deep breathing exercises, meditation, and engaging hobbies can help shift your focus away from repetitive thoughts. Doing something that requires your full attention, like exercising, painting, or even solving puzzles, gives your brain a break from overanalyzing and helps you develop a habit of being present in the moment. Remember that perfectionism often fuels overthinking. If you constantly feel the need to make the perfect decision or say the perfect thing, you will always struggle with doubt and hesitation. Accepting that progress is better than perfection allows you to move forward without overanalyzing every detail. Mistakes and imperfect decisions are a natural part of life, and they provide valuable learning experiences. Instead of aiming for perfection, aim for progress, small, confident steps in the right direction. The key to breaking free from overthinking is shifting your focus from excessive analysis to decisive action. When you train yourself to recognize unproductive thoughts, set decision deadlines, trust yourself, and take action without fear of imperfection, your mind will become clearer and more at ease. Over time, thinking clearly will become second nature, allowing you to live with confidence and peace rather than hesitation and stress. Chapter 3. The Power of Mental Models. Thinking like a Genius. The way you think determines the quality of your decisions, actions, and ultimately, your life. Yet, most people rely on instinct, emotions, or trial and error when making choices, often leading to confusion, frustration, and poor outcomes. Clear thinking isn't about working harder. It's about thinking smarter. This is where mental models come in. Mental models are like thinking tools. They help you understand problems, filter information, and make better decisions. Think of them as frameworks that shape how you see the world. Just as an architect uses blueprints to design buildings, great thinkers use mental models to structure their thinking. Instead of approaching every situation with a cluttered mind, mental models provide a shortcut to clarity, allowing you to process information effectively and respond with confidence. One of the most powerful mental models is first principles thinking, famously used by visionaries like Elon Musk and Aristotle. This model helps you break down complex problems into their most basic, fundamental truths. Instead of blindly accepting conventional wisdom, first principles thinking forces you to ask, what are the undeniable facts? What can I prove to be true? By stripping away assumptions, you see things as they truly are, allowing you to develop original solutions instead of following outdated or flawed thinking. For example, imagine you want to improve your productivity but feel overwhelmed by advice and techniques. Instead of blindly trying different time management hacks, first principles thinking encourages you to step back and ask, what is productivity at its core? The fundamental truth is that productivity is simply doing meaningful work efficiently. With this in mind, you can then build strategies based on core principles, like eliminating distractions, prioritizing high-impact tasks, and maintaining focus. Another essential mental model is Occam's razor, which states that the simplest explanation is often the best. When faced with multiple explanations for a problem, we tend to overcomplicate things, analyzing unnecessary details. Occam's razor reminds us to eliminate unnecessary complexity and focus on the most straightforward solution. For instance, if you're constantly tired, you might start overanalyzing your health, searching for rare medical conditions or complex diet plans. But applying Occam's razor, you'd first ask, am I getting enough sleep? Am I eating well? More often than not, the simplest answer, such as improving your sleep and nutrition, is the correct one. The 80-20 rule Pareto principle is another mental model that can transform your thinking. This principle states that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. In almost every area of life, business, relationships, learning, or fitness, a small percentage of actions drive the majority of outcomes. By identifying the most impactful tasks, you can work smarter rather than harder. For example, if you're trying to learn a new skill, don't spread yourself thin trying to master everything at once. Instead, focus on the 20% of knowledge that will give you 80% of the results. Whether it's learning the most common words in a new language or mastering foundational skills in a profession, this approach helps you progress quickly and efficiently. Another useful mental model is second-order thinking, which involves considering the long-term consequences of your actions. Most people only think about the immediate results of their decisions, but second-order thinkers ask, what happens next? And then what? For instance, imagine you're deciding whether to take a new job. First-order thinking might say, it pays more, so I should take it. But second-order thinking asks, will this job give me long-term career growth? Will I be sacrificing work-life balance? Will I still enjoy it in 5 years? By considering the chain reaction of consequences, you make decisions with a greater level of awareness. One of the simplest yet most effective mental models is inversion thinking, the idea of working backward to avoid failure. Instead of only asking, how can I succeed? Also ask, what would cause me to fail? By identifying pitfalls in advance, you can prevent mistakes before they happen. For example, if you want to be more productive, don't just ask, how can I get more done? Instead, ask, what usually distracts me? What stops me from being productive? By removing these obstacles first, you clear the way for success. The power of mental models lies in how you apply them. No single model works for every situation, but by developing a toolbox of thinking strategies, you gain the ability to navigate challenges, make decisions with confidence, and solve problems efficiently. The best thinkers don't rely on luck or guesswork. They use structured thinking to break through complexity and see the world with greater clarity. By incorporating mental models into your daily life, you unlock the ability to think clearly, make smarter choices, and ultimately shape your future with greater precision. Chapter 4. The Science of Decision-Making, How to Choose Wisely. Every day we make countless decisions: what to eat, what to wear, how to respond to an email, whether to take a new job, or even how to spend our time. Some decisions are small and insignificant, while others can change the course of our lives. Yet, for many people, decision-making is a stressful and overwhelming process. The fear of making the wrong choice leads to hesitation, second-guessing, and, in some cases, complete paralysis. The good news is that decision-making is a skill that can be learned and improved. By understanding the science behind decision-making, you can make choices with confidence and clarity. One of the biggest mistakes people make when making decisions is relying too much on emotions. While emotions are an essential part of being human, they can cloud judgment and lead to impulsive or irrational choices. The key to smart decision-making is learning how to balance logic with intuition. Instead of reacting emotionally, step back and evaluate the situation objectively. Ask yourself, what are the facts? What are the possible outcomes? What is the worst that could happen? This simple habit helps separate emotions from rational thinking, leading to better decisions. A powerful tool in decision-making is the 10-10-10 rule, developed by author Susie Welch. This method involves asking yourself 3 simple questions before making a decision. How will I feel about this decision in 10 minutes? How will I feel about it in 10 months? How will I feel about it in 10 years? This technique helps put your choices into perspective. Often, we stress over small decisions that won't matter in the long run, but when you apply the 10-10-10 rule, you force yourself to think beyond the present moment and make choices that align with your long-term goals. Another essential decision-making strategy is minimizing regret. This method, popularized by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, is known as the regret minimization framework. The idea is simple. When faced with a tough choice, imagine yourself at 80 years old, looking back at your life. Ask yourself, which decision would I regret more, taking this risk or playing it safe? This mental exercise helps you prioritize long-term fulfillment over short-term fears. A common reason people struggle with decision-making is analysis paralysis, the tendency to overanalyze a situation to the point of inaction. When you spend too much time considering every possible outcome, your mind becomes overwhelmed, making it even harder to decide. To overcome analysis paralysis, use the 70% rule, a principle often credited to former U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt. According to this rule, you don't need 100% certainty to make a decision. If you have at least 70% of the information you need, take action. Waiting for perfect certainty leads to missed opportunities, while acting with reasonable confidence allows you to move forward and adjust along the way. Another powerful method is decision stacking, a technique used by high-performing individuals to reduce mental fatigue. Every decision you make requires energy, and the more choices you face, the more drained you become. This is why successful people simplify their decision-making by automating minor choices. For example, Steve Jobs famously wore the same black turtleneck and jeans daily to eliminate the mental energy spent on picking an outfit. You can apply this to your own life by reducing unnecessary choices, such as meal prepping in advance, setting a daily schedule, or creating routines for repetitive tasks. The fewer decisions you waste energy on, the more mental power you'll have for important choices. A useful technique in decision-making is reversibility versus irreversibility. Not all decisions carry the same weight. Some choices are reversible. You can test them, adjust, or undo them if they don't work out. Others are irreversible, requiring deeper consideration. Before agonizing over a decision, ask yourself, is this decision permanent, or can I change it later? If it's reversible, make the choice quickly and move forward. If it's irreversible, take more time to weigh your options carefully. Learning to make decisions efficiently comes down to trusting yourself. The best decision makers aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who learn from them and keep moving forward. Every choice, whether right or wrong, teaches you something valuable. Instead of fearing decisions, see them as stepping stones toward growth and progress. By developing a structured approach to decision-making, balancing logic with intuition, applying simple frameworks, and reducing decision fatigue, you'll gain the confidence to make choices quickly and wisely. When you stop overanalyzing and start acting with clarity, life becomes much easier, and you'll move toward your goals with certainty and ease. Chapter 5. Mastering Emotional Control. Thinking without bias. Our emotions play a crucial role in how we think, perceive the world, and make decisions. They color our thoughts, influence our reactions, and often dictate the choices we make. While emotions are a natural part of being human, when left unchecked, they can cloud our judgment, distort reality, and lead to irrational thinking. Emotional reactions can make problems seem bigger than they really are, cause unnecessary stress, and prevent us from thinking clearly. If you want to master the art of clear thinking, you must learn to master your emotions, rather than allowing them to master you. One of the biggest challenges in emotional control is separating emotions from facts. People often react impulsively based on how they feel in the moment, rather than assessing the actual situation. For example, if someone criticizes your work, your initial emotional reaction might be anger or defensiveness. But if you pause and analyze the situation logically, you may realize that the feedback is constructive and could help you improve. Instead of letting emotions dictate your response, take a step back and ask, is this my emotion talking, or am I looking at the situation objectively? A powerful technique for mastering emotional control is cognitive distancing. This involves stepping outside of yourself and observing your emotions as if you were an outsider. Instead of saying, I am angry, say, I notice that I am feeling anger. This small shift in language creates psychological distance between you and the emotion, making it easier to manage. By recognizing that emotions are temporary and not a reflection of reality, you regain control over your thoughts and responses. Another critical skill in emotional mastery is understanding cognitive biases, the mental shortcuts and distortions that influence our perception of reality. Our brains are wired to take shortcuts to make decisions quickly, but sometimes these shortcuts lead to faulty thinking. One common bias is the confirmation bias, where we only pay attention to information that supports our existing beliefs while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. For example, if you strongly believe that a particular diet is the best, you may only read articles that support your belief and ignore scientific studies that suggest otherwise. Recognizing cognitive biases allows you to challenge your assumptions and think more objectively. Emotional regulation is also essential for handling stress and pressure effectively. When faced with a challenging situation, your body's natural response is to go into fight or flight mode, releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This can lead to panic, anxiety, and reactive thinking. One of the best ways to counteract this is through deep breathing exercises and mindfulness techniques. Studies have shown that slow, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms the body and mind. The next time you feel overwhelmed by emotions, try the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, and exhale for 8 seconds. This simple practice can help you regain composure and prevent emotions from hijacking your thinking. Another technique for mastering emotional control is reframing negative thoughts. Your mind has a natural tendency to focus on threats and problems, a survival mechanism inherited from our ancestors. However, in modern life, this negativity bias can lead to excessive worry and stress. Instead of automatically reacting to negative thoughts, practice shifting your perspective. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm terrible at this," reframe it as, "I'm still learning, and with practice, I'll improve." This shift in mindset helps you approach challenges with a growth-oriented perspective rather than one of defeat. Delayed response is another powerful tool for emotional mastery. Most emotional reactions happen in the heat of the moment. You get an upsetting email, and you immediately fire back a harsh response. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and you react with frustration. Instead of reacting immediately, practice the pause and reflect rule. Give yourself a few moments before responding. Ask yourself, will this matter in an hour? Will it matter tomorrow? More often than not, the answer is no. Taking a moment to pause allows logic to take over and prevents regretful decisions made in the heat of emotion. Your environment also plays a significant role in emotional control. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, whether it's toxic relationships, social media, or negative news, you're more likely to react emotionally to everything. Be intentional about what you allow into your mental space. Limit exposure to things that trigger negative emotions, and instead surround yourself with uplifting, rational, and inspiring content. Emotional control is not about suppressing emotions. It's about managing them effectively. Suppressing emotions can lead to bottled-up stress and even physical health problems. The goal is to acknowledge emotions without being controlled by them. Journaling, therapy, and talking to a trusted friend can be helpful outlets for processing emotions in a healthy way. When you master emotional control, you gain the ability to think clearly, respond rationally, and make sound decisions even in high-pressure situations. You no longer let fear, anger, or frustration dictate your actions. Instead, you become the one in control of your mind, your thoughts, and ultimately, your life. Emotional mastery is a skill that takes practice, but with time, it transforms the way you think, act, and experience the world. Chapter 6. The Power of Simplicity, Thinking with Clarity and Precision. In a world filled with endless information, distractions, and overwhelming complexity, clear thinking is a rare and valuable skill. Many people struggle with over-analyzing problems, getting lost in unnecessary details, and feeling mentally exhausted by too many choices. The truth is, the ability to think clearly is not about doing more. It's about simplifying your thinking. Simplicity is a powerful tool that cuts through confusion, removes unnecessary stress, and allows you to see solutions with greater ease. The modern world bombards us with an overload of information. Every day we are exposed to countless opinions, news updates, and digital notifications competing for our attention. This information overload makes it difficult to focus, causing mental clutter and decision fatigue. The first step to clear thinking is eliminating unnecessary complexity. Just as a cluttered desk makes it hard to find what you need, a cluttered mind makes it hard to think straight. Simplifying your thoughts allows your brain to process information efficiently, leading to sharper decision-making and less mental stress. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that complexity equals intelligence. Many assume that the more complicated a solution is, the better it must be. But in reality, great thinkers and problem solvers know that the best solutions are often the simplest. Think about some of the world's most successful inventions, the wheel, the paperclip, or even the iPhone. These innovations work so well because they are elegantly simple. Albert Einstein once said, "Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler." This means that the goal is not to oversimplify things to the point of ignorance, but rather to strip away the unnecessary until only the essential remains. A great way to practice simplicity in thinking is by using the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. This principle states that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. In many areas of life, a small number of actions create the biggest impact. For example, in business, 20% of customers often generate 80% of revenue. In productivity, 20% of tasks contribute to 80% of meaningful progress. By identifying the most important 20% of actions, you can eliminate distractions and focus on what truly matters. Another key strategy for simplifying your thinking is breaking problems into smaller steps. Many people become overwhelmed when faced with large, complex problems, leading to procrastination and inaction. Instead of trying to solve everything at once, break it down into manageable parts. For example, if you want to start a business, the thought of handling finances, marketing, and operations all at once may seem impossible. But if you break it down, first researching the market, then testing ideas, then building step by step, it becomes much more manageable. Simplifying big challenges into smaller tasks makes them easier to tackle and reduces mental stress. Decision-making also benefits from simplicity. Many people get stuck in analysis paralysis, overthinking every possible outcome until they can't decide at all. The best way to overcome this is by using the rule of 3. Instead of overwhelming yourself with endless options, narrow your choices down to 3 clear options. From there, weigh the pros and cons and make a confident decision. By reducing the number of choices, you make it easier for your brain to process information and act decisively. Simplifying communication is another important aspect of clear thinking. Have you ever noticed that the most intelligent people explain complex ideas in simple terms? True mastery of a subject means being able to distill complex ideas into clear, understandable explanations. If you can't explain something simply, you probably don't understand it well enough. This is known as the Feynman technique, named after the famous physicist Richard Feynman. The method involves breaking down a concept and explaining it as if you were teaching it to a child. If you struggle to simplify your explanation, you need to deepen your understanding. Another way to embrace simplicity is by decluttering your environment. Your physical surroundings have a direct impact on your mental clarity. A messy workspace, excessive digital distractions, or a chaotic daily routine can all contribute to mental fog. Start by removing unnecessary clutter from your home, organizing your workspace, and limiting distractions such as social media and endless notifications. When your surroundings are simple and orderly, your mind naturally follows. Simplicity also applies to time management. Many people feel overwhelmed by their to-do lists, trying to accomplish too many things at once. Instead of packing your schedule with unnecessary tasks, focus on the few things that truly move the needle forward. This is where the one-thing rule comes in. At any given moment, ask yourself, what is the one most important thing I should be doing right now? This eliminates unnecessary multitasking and helps you direct your energy toward what truly matters. One of the greatest benefits of embracing simplicity is reducing stress and anxiety. Overcomplicating life leads to frustration, mental exhaustion, and decision fatigue. But when you remove unnecessary worries, unnecessary commitments, and unnecessary distractions, you create mental space for clarity and peace of mind. Simplicity helps you feel lighter, more focused, and more in control of your life. Clear thinking is about removing the excess so you can focus on what truly matters. By eliminating distractions, breaking down problems, simplifying decisions, and decluttering both your mind and environment, you create space for deep focus and effective thinking. The power of simplicity allows you to think faster, act decisively, and live a life free from unnecessary complexity. In the end, the best way to gain clarity is not by adding more, but by letting go of what no longer serves you. Chapter 7: Building Mental Strength. The Habit of Clear Thinking. Clear thinking isn't something that happens overnight. It's a habit that must be cultivated and strengthened over time. Just like physical exercise builds a strong body, mental exercises and daily habits build a sharp, resilient mind. Mental strength is what allows you to navigate challenges, filter out distractions, and make decisions with confidence. Without it, you're at the mercy of external pressures, emotional impulses, and mental fatigue. But with it, you gain control over your thoughts, actions, and ultimately, your life. One of the most important aspects of mental strength is consistency. Just as you wouldn't expect to build muscle by going to the gym once, you can't expect to develop mental clarity by practicing focus once in a while. Clear thinking requires daily commitment. Whether it's through structured routines, reflection, or mental exercises, the key is to make thinking clearly a habit, rather than something you do only when necessary. A powerful way to build mental strength is through daily reflection. Taking time to pause and assess your thoughts, decisions, and emotions helps you recognize patterns that may be clouding your thinking. Many of the world's greatest minds, from ancient philosophers to modern leaders, have used journaling as a way to organize their thoughts and gain clarity. Spending just 10 minutes each morning or evening writing about your thoughts, challenges, and goals can dramatically improve your ability to think clearly. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? What could I have done differently? What is one thing I need to focus on tomorrow? These simple questions help train your mind to reflect and process information more effectively. Another key element of mental strength is developing critical thinking skills. In a world filled with misinformation, biases, and emotional triggers, the ability to question, analyze, and think independently is crucial. Many people accept information at face value without questioning its validity, but clear thinkers ask deeper questions. Is this true? What evidence supports it? Could there be another perspective? By training yourself to analyze information critically, you avoid falling into the trap of reactive thinking and misinformation. Mental strength also requires learning to control distractions. The modern world is designed to steal your attention. Social media notifications, endless entertainment options, and constant digital noise all make it harder to focus. Every time your attention is pulled in multiple directions, your ability to think clearly weakens. If you want to develop mental strength, you must train your brain to resist distractions. One way to do this is through focus training, where you deliberately practice deep concentration. Set aside at least 30 to 60 minutes a day for deep work. Turn off notifications and work on a single important task without interruption. Over time, your ability to concentrate and think deeply will improve. Another important aspect of mental strength is managing stress effectively. When stress takes over, your ability to think clearly diminishes. Stress triggers emotional reactions, making it harder to process information rationally. One of the best ways to strengthen your mind against stress is through breathing exercises and mindfulness practices. Techniques like meditation, controlled breathing, and even simple physical activities like walking can help reset your nervous system and restore mental clarity. The next time you feel overwhelmed, try the box breathing technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold again for 4 seconds. This simple practice can quickly bring your mind back to a calm and focused state. Building mental strength also means developing resilience. the ability to bounce back from setbacks and failures. Many people let mistakes and failures consume their thoughts, replaying them over and over in their minds. But mentally strong individuals see failure as a learning opportunity rather than a defeat. Instead of thinking, "I failed, so I must not be good enough," shift your mindset to, "What can I learn from this? How can I improve?" This mental shift allows you to grow and improve rather than get stuck in negative thought loops. Surrounding yourself with clear thinkers is another crucial part of strengthening your mind. Your environment has a direct impact on how you think. If you spend most of your time around people who complain, overthink, and lack direction, their thought patterns will influence yours. But if you surround yourself with people who think logically, make decisions with confidence, and focus on solutions rather than problems, their mindset will naturally shape yours. Seek out conversations that challenge your thinking, read books that expand your perspective, and engage in discussions that encourage intellectual growth. Another powerful way to build mental strength is learning to embrace uncertainty. Many people overthink because they want absolute certainty before making a decision. But the reality is, certainty is an illusion. Life is unpredictable, and waiting for perfect clarity before acting leads to stagnation. Mentally strong people train themselves to be comfortable with uncertainty. Instead of fearing the unknown, they develop confidence in their ability to handle whatever comes their way. One way to practice this is by making small decisions quickly and confidently. Start with minor choices: what to eat, what book to read, without second-guessing yourself. Over time, your ability to make bigger decisions with confidence will grow. One of the most underrated habits for mental strength is giving your mind space to think. Many people spend their entire day consuming information, whether it's scrolling social media, watching TV, or constantly listening to podcasts. While learning is important, your brain also needs time to process information and think independently. Take breaks from external input and spend time in silence. Go for a walk without your phone, sit in stillness for a few minutes, or simply let your thoughts flow without distractions. These moments of mental stillness allow for deeper insights and clearer thinking. Mental strength isn't about having all the answers. It's about developing the habits that allow you to think clearly, act decisively, and stay in control of your mind. By practicing reflection, sharpening your critical thinking skills, eliminating distractions, managing stress, and surrounding yourself with clear thinkers, you build the foundation for a mind that is resilient, focused, and capable of making intelligent decisions. When you train your mind to be strong, clear thinking becomes second nature, and you gain the ability to navigate life's challenges with confidence and ease. Chapter 8. The Path to Lifelong Mental Clarity. Making clear thinking a way of life. Clear thinking is not just a skill you develop once and forget about. It's a lifelong journey. Just like physical fitness requires ongoing effort to maintain strength and health, mental clarity requires continuous practice. The world is full of distractions, emotional triggers, and mental clutter that can pull you off track. If you don't actively cultivate clarity, it's easy to fall back into patterns of overthinking, mental fog, and indecision. The key to sustained clear thinking is to make it a way of life, something you integrate into your daily habits, decision-making, and mindset. One of the first steps to making clear thinking a lifelong habit is being intentional about the information you consume. In today's digital world, we are constantly bombarded with news, opinions, and endless streams of content. Without careful selection, your mind can become overwhelmed with conflicting ideas, misinformation, and mental noise. To protect your clarity, be selective about what enters your mind. Limit exposure to negative, fear-driven news. Choose books, podcasts, and discussions that challenge you intellectually rather than fill your mind with superficial distractions. A strong mind is built on high-quality input, just like a strong body is built on good nutrition. Another essential part of lifelong mental clarity is practicing self-awareness. Many people operate on autopilot, reacting to situations and emotions without questioning why. But clear thinkers make it a habit to step back and observe their own thoughts. This means regularly asking yourself, why am I thinking this way? Is this thought helpful or harmful? Am I making assumptions or do I have facts? The more you develop this habit of self-inquiry, the easier it becomes to recognize when your thinking is getting clouded by emotions, biases, or external influences. A practical technique for maintaining clear thinking is mental decluttering. Just as a cluttered desk creates stress and inefficiency, a cluttered mind makes it difficult to focus and think clearly. Mental clutter includes unfinished tasks, unresolved emotions, and information overload. To clear this clutter, set aside time each week to write down everything on your mind, your worries, to-do lists, decisions you're struggling with, and lingering thoughts. Once it's written down, you can organize, prioritize, or let go of things that no longer serve you. This practice prevents mental overload and helps you focus on what truly matters. Another powerful way to keep your mind clear is establishing daily thinking rituals. Many successful thinkers set aside time each day to reflect, strategize, or engage in deep thought. Whether it's morning meditation, journaling, or a quiet walk, having a dedicated time for mental clarity strengthens your ability to think deeply and process information effectively. Even something as simple as starting your day with 5 minutes of intentional silence can make a big difference in how you think and approach challenges. Balancing logic and intuition is also key to lifelong clear thinking. Some people rely entirely on logic, analyzing every detail before making a decision. Others depend solely on gut instinct, making choices based on emotions. The best decision-makers know how to combine both, using logic to evaluate facts while also trusting their intuition. This balance allows you to make decisions efficiently without getting lost in over-analysis or reckless impulsivity. Maintaining mental clarity also requires a strong sense of purpose. When you have a clear purpose or guiding philosophy, it becomes easier to filter out distractions and focus on what truly matters. Without a strong purpose, it's easy to get caught up in trivial concerns, wasted time, and mental confusion. Ask yourself, what are my core values? What is most important to me? What do I want to prioritize in life? When you have clear answers to these questions, your mind naturally becomes more focused and decision-making becomes easier. Simplifying your life is another powerful way to support clear thinking. Complexity often leads to confusion, stress, and mental exhaustion. Whether it's decluttering your home, reducing commitments, or streamlining your daily routine, simplifying your life frees up mental energy for what truly matters. A simple yet effective rule to follow is eliminate what doesn't add value. If something isn't improving your life, mindset, or well-being, consider letting it go. The less unnecessary baggage you carry, mentally and physically, the clearer your thinking becomes. Another essential practice for lifelong mental clarity is developing emotional resilience. No matter how much you train your mind, you will still face emotional challenges, failures, and setbacks. The difference between clear thinkers and those who struggle is their ability to bounce back and maintain perspective. Instead of letting emotions hijack their thinking, resilient individuals practice emotional regulation, taking time to process emotions, reframing negative experiences, and keeping a long-term perspective. A helpful technique is the zoom out method. When faced with a difficult situation, ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a year, 5 years? This helps you detach from immediate emotional reactions and think more rationally. Building a network of clear thinkers is also crucial for maintaining long-term mental clarity. The people you surround yourself with influence how you think, what you focus on, and how you make decisions. If you are constantly around negative, confused, or reactive individuals, their mindset will seep into yours. Instead, seek out people who inspire you, challenge your thinking, and encourage clarity. Engage in conversations that expand your perspective rather than drain your mental energy. The more you surround yourself with thoughtful, clear-minded individuals, the stronger your own thinking becomes. One of the most important habits for lifelong clear thinking is learning to embrace uncertainty. Many people become mentally stuck because they crave absolute certainty before making decisions or moving forward in life. But the truth is, uncertainty is a natural part of life, and waiting for perfect clarity often leads to inaction and missed opportunities. Instead of fearing the unknown, train yourself to be comfortable making decisions with the information you have, adjusting as you go. The ability to act with confidence despite uncertainty is what separates great thinkers from those who stay stuck in endless over-analysis. Clear thinking is a lifelong commitment, a skill that needs to be nurtured, refined, and strengthened over time. By being intentional about the information you consume, practicing self-awareness, simplifying your life, managing emotions, and surrounding yourself with positive influences, you create an environment where clear thinking thrives. The more you practice these habits, the more natural they become, until clear thinking is not just something you do, but a fundamental part of who you are. A sharp, focused, and clear mind is one of the greatest assets you can develop. It allows you to make better decisions, avoid unnecessary stress, and live with confidence and purpose. The journey to mental clarity doesn't end, it evolves. Every day is an opportunity to sharpen your thinking, cut through distractions, and embrace a life of clarity, wisdom, and deep understanding. Chapter 9. Overcoming Mental Fatigue, Sustaining Clear Thinking in a Chaotic World. No matter how much you train yourself to think clearly, there will be times when your mind feels exhausted, sluggish, and overwhelmed. Mental fatigue is one of the biggest obstacles to clear thinking. It drains your ability to focus, process information effectively, and make sound decisions. In today's world, where we are constantly exposed to news, social media, work pressures, and personal responsibilities, mental exhaustion is more common than ever. If you want to sustain clear thinking for the long term, you must learn how to manage and overcome mental fatigue before it takes control of your life. One of the primary causes of mental fatigue is decision overload. Every day we make thousands of small decisions: what to wear, what to eat, which emails to respond to, how to plan our schedule. Each decision, no matter how small, requires mental energy. Over time, this leads to decision fatigue, making it harder to think clearly and make important choices later in the day. This is why many successful people simplify their daily decisions, wearing the same style of clothing, following a structured routine, or automating small tasks. By removing unnecessary choices, you conserve mental energy for decisions that truly matter. Another major contributor to mental fatigue is constant digital stimulation. The modern world is designed to keep you engaged. Endless notifications, breaking news, social media updates, and digital distractions flood your mind with information every second. This overstimulation leaves little room for deep thought and mental clarity. If you find yourself constantly scrolling through your phone or multitasking between emails and social media, you are training your brain to be in a constant state of distraction. The solution is to set boundaries with technology. Schedule no screen times during your day, turn off non-essential notifications, and create spaces in your life where your mind can rest and reset. Sleep is another critical factor in overcoming mental fatigue. Many people underestimate the power of quality sleep in maintaining clear thinking. Research shows that lack of sleep significantly impairs cognitive function, weakens decision-making abilities, and reduces mental resilience. You may think you are functioning fine on limited sleep, but your ability to process information, recall memories, and solve problems suffers greatly. If you want to sustain a sharp mind, prioritize deep, restful sleep by maintaining a consistent bedtime, avoiding screens before bed, and practicing relaxation techniques such as deep breathing or meditation. A powerful way to combat mental fatigue is mindful breaks and rest periods. Your brain is not designed to be in constant work mode. Even if you love what you do, mental exhaustion sets in if you don't allow yourself time to recharge. Studies have shown that taking short breaks throughout the day enhances focus, creativity, and cognitive performance. One effective technique is the Pomodoro method, where you work in focused 25 to 50-minute intervals, followed by a short 5 to 10-minute break. During these breaks, step away from screens, stretch, take a walk, or engage in deep breathing. These moments of rest give your brain the reset it needs to maintain clarity throughout the day. Another overlooked factor in sustaining clear thinking is physical movement. The mind and body are deeply connected, and when your body is stagnant, your mind also becomes sluggish. Regular exercise increases blood flow to the brain, reduces stress, and enhances cognitive function. You don't need an intense workout. Something as simple as a daily walk, stretching, or yoga can refresh your mind and improve your ability to think clearly. If you ever feel stuck in overthinking or mental exhaustion, try stepping away from your desk and engaging in physical movement. Nutrition also plays a crucial role in mental clarity. Your brain needs proper fuel to function optimally, and what you eat directly affects your cognitive performance. Diets high in sugar, processed foods, and caffeine spikes can lead to energy crashes and mental fog. To maintain a sharp mind, focus on brain-boosting foods such as nuts, leafy greens, fish rich in omega-3s, and antioxidant-rich berries. Staying hydrated is equally important. Dehydration is a common but overlooked cause of fatigue and lack of focus. Make it a habit to drink water consistently throughout the day to keep your brain functioning at its best. Mental fatigue is also closely linked to emotional exhaustion. When you carry stress, anxiety, or unresolved emotions, your brain spends an enormous amount of energy processing these feelings. Over time, this drains your ability to think clearly. One of the best ways to reduce emotional exhaustion is through journaling, therapy, or meaningful conversations with trusted individuals. Writing down your worries, fears, or frustrations helps to declutter your mind, giving you more mental space for clear thinking. If you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, what is taking up unnecessary space in my mind? What emotional burdens can I let go of? Freeing yourself from emotional clutter makes room for better cognitive function. Another essential strategy for overcoming mental fatigue is aligning your life with your priorities. Many people feel mentally exhausted because they are constantly juggling things that don't truly matter to them. Saying yes to commitments they don't want, overloading their schedule, or trying to meet expectations that aren't aligned with their values. Take time to evaluate where your mental energy is going. Ask yourself, what is truly important to me? What unnecessary commitments can I let go of? When your daily life aligns with your core values, you experience less mental resistance and more mental clarity. The environment you work and live in also affects your mental clarity. A cluttered, chaotic environment often leads to a cluttered mind. Take time to simplify and organize your surroundings. Keep your workspace clean, minimize distractions, and create an environment that encourages focus and calmness. Small changes, like reducing clutter, adding plants to your workspace, or improving lighting, can make a significant difference in how your mind functions throughout the day. Finally, one of the most important things to remember about sustaining clear thinking is self-compassion. Mental fatigue happens to everyone. Some days, no matter how disciplined you are, your brain will feel tired, foggy, or unmotivated. Instead of pushing yourself harder in these moments, give yourself grace. Take a break, do something you enjoy, or simply allow yourself to rest. The brain, like any other part of the body, needs time to recover. When you listen to your mental needs instead of forcing productivity, you come back stronger, sharper, and more refreshed. Overcoming mental fatigue is about balance, balancing work with rest, stimulation with silence, and logic with emotional well-being. When you actively manage decision fatigue, limit distractions, prioritize sleep, take mindful breaks, and fuel your body properly, you create a foundation for sustained mental clarity and long-term cognitive strength. The world will always be full of noise, distractions, and demands on your attention, but by developing the right habits, you can maintain a mind that is clear, focused, and ready to handle anything life throws your way. Chapter 10. The Art of Mental Discipline, Strengthening Your Mind for Lifelong Clarity. Clear thinking is not just about having the right strategies, it's about building mental discipline. Just like a strong body requires consistent training and discipline, a strong mind needs regular exercise to remain sharp, focused, and resilient. Mental discipline is what separates those who get easily overwhelmed, distracted, and indecisive from those who remain composed, confident, and in control of their thoughts. When your mind is disciplined, you don't fall into the traps of overthinking, impulsive decisions, or emotional reactions. Instead, you develop clarity, focus, and the ability to make sound judgments even under pressure. One of the first steps to mastering mental discipline is taking control of your attention. In today's world, attention is one of the most valuable resources, yet most people let it be hijacked by external distractions, social media, notifications, endless entertainment, and other people's demands. When you don't control your attention, you lose control of your mind. The key to developing discipline is training yourself to focus deliberately. This means setting clear boundaries around distractions, practicing deep work, and conditioning yourself to concentrate on one task at a time. The more you strengthen your ability to focus, the more mentally disciplined you become. A practical way to train your focus is the 60-minute deep work rule. Set a timer for 60 minutes, pick one meaningful task, and work on it without interruptions. No checking your phone, no multitasking, no distractions. At first, your mind may resist, craving the quick dopamine hits of social media or background noise, but with practice, your ability to focus deeply will grow, and you'll find that your thinking becomes clearer and more productive. Another essential component of mental discipline is learning to manage emotional impulses. Many people allow fleeting emotions, anger, frustration, anxiety, to control their decisions and actions. But clear thinkers understand that emotion should inform thinking, not dictate it. One powerful technique for emotional discipline is the pause and process rule. Before reacting to a situation emotionally, pause for a few moments and ask yourself, is this reaction helpful? Will this matter in the long run? This small mental pause helps you detach from emotional impulses and make rational, well-thought-out choices instead of reactive ones. Delayed gratification is another cornerstone of mental discipline. In a world of instant gratification, fast food, on-demand entertainment, and quick fixes, it's easy to develop a mindset of seeking immediate rewards instead of long-term benefits. But clear thinking requires the ability to delay gratification in pursuit of greater goals. Whether it's resisting the urge to check your phone while working, saving money instead of spending impulsively, or prioritizing long-term learning over short-term entertainment, training yourself to wait for meaningful rewards strengthens your mind. A useful exercise for developing this habit is the 24-hour rule. Whenever you feel a strong urge to make an impulsive decision, buying something expensive, responding emotionally to a message, making a big life choice, wait 24 hours. If you still feel the same way the next day, you can proceed with the decision. More often than not, time creates clarity, and you realize that many impulsive desires fade away when you allow your rational mind to catch up. Another powerful aspect of mental discipline is embracing discomfort. Many people avoid difficult tasks, uncomfortable conversations, or challenging learning experiences because they seek ease and convenience. But real mental strength comes from facing discomfort head-on. Instead of avoiding difficult problems, train yourself to see them as opportunities for growth. The more you challenge your mind, the stronger and clearer it becomes. One effective way to do this is the do the hard thing first principle. Each day, identify the hardest, most mentally demanding task on your list and do it first. This builds discipline, increases confidence, and sets the tone for a productive, clear-thinking day. Consistency is the foundation of mental discipline. Many people expect to develop mental clarity overnight, but in reality, it's the small, daily habits that create a strong and disciplined mind. Just like physical exercise, mental training requires repetition. Practicing focus, managing distractions, delaying gratification, and embracing challenges must become a daily practice rather than an occasional effort. One of the best ways to build consistency is tracking your progress. Keep a journal of your mental discipline habits. Write down how often you focused deeply, how well you controlled emotional reactions, how many times you resisted distractions, and where you can improve. Over time, this reflection strengthens self-awareness and helps reinforce mental clarity as a lifelong habit. Surrounding yourself with disciplined thinkers also plays a crucial role in your mental strength. If you constantly spend time with people who are unfocused, impulsive, or easily distracted, their habits will influence you. But if you surround yourself with individuals who value focus, deep thinking, and discipline, their mindset will naturally shape yours. Seek out environments that support clear thinking. Engage in meaningful discussions, read thought-provoking books, and eliminate unnecessary noise from your life. Mental discipline also requires setting clear personal boundaries. Many people struggle with clear thinking because they allow others to constantly interrupt their mental space, whether it's through unnecessary meetings, excessive social obligations, or always being available for others' demands. If you want to maintain a disciplined mind, you must protect your time and mental energy. Learning to say no to distractions, unnecessary commitments, and draining relationships frees up space for deep, focused, and disciplined thinking. The final and perhaps most important principle of mental discipline is self-mastery. A disciplined mind is one that is not controlled by external forces, fleeting emotions, or societal expectations. Instead, it is governed by intentional action, rational decision-making, and a deep sense of personal purpose. Self-mastery means taking full responsibility for your thoughts, actions, and habits. It means refusing to be a victim of circumstance and instead shaping your mind and life through deliberate practice and personal discipline. Mental discipline is the key to lifelong clarity. Without discipline, even the best thinking strategies will fail. But with discipline, your mind becomes a powerful tool, capable of cutting through confusion, eliminating distractions, and making intelligent decisions in any situation. When you commit to training your mind through focus, emotional control, delaying gratification, embracing discomfort, and maintaining consistency, you develop a resilient, disciplined, and unstoppable mental clarity that will serve you for life. The world will always be filled with distractions, complexity, and challenges. But a disciplined mind remains clear, focused, and strong, no matter what. Chapter 11. The Power of Perspective, Expanding Your Mind for Clear Thinking. Clear thinking isn't just about mental discipline, focus, or eliminating distractions. It's also about how you see the world. Your perspective shapes your reality. The way you interpret events, process information, and make decisions is all influenced by the lens through which you view life. A narrow perspective leads to rigid thinking, while a broad perspective allows for flexibility, wisdom, and deeper understanding. If you want to sharpen your mind and think more clearly, you must train yourself to see beyond immediate circumstances and broaden your mental horizon. One of the biggest obstacles to clear thinking is cognitive rigidity, the tendency to hold on to a single way of seeing things, even when new evidence or perspectives challenge it. People who struggle with cognitive rigidity often resist change, dismiss opposing viewpoints, and become trapped in patterns of confirmation bias, only seeking out information that supports what they already believe. This creates a mental filter that blocks clarity. If you truly want to think clearly, you must be willing to challenge your own thoughts and question your existing beliefs. A powerful exercise to expand your perspective is the opposite view technique. Whenever you feel strongly about something, whether it's a decision, an opinion, or a belief, pause and ask yourself, what if the opposite were true? What evidence supports the other side? This forces you to step outside your mental comfort zone and consider alternative viewpoints. Even if you don't change your belief, you will strengthen your understanding and refine your thinking. The more you practice this, the more flexible and open-minded your thinking becomes. Another key to broadening your perspective is seeking diverse experiences and knowledge. Many people stay trapped in limited thinking because they only expose themselves to the same people, ideas, and environments. But true mental clarity comes from exploring different cultures, learning new skills, and engaging with people who think differently than you do. If you only consume information from one source, interact with the same type of people, or avoid unfamiliar situations, your mind becomes stagnant. To expand your thinking, make it a habit to read books outside your usual interests, travel to new places, or have conversations with people from different backgrounds. Every new experience adds another layer to your perspective, making your thinking richer and clearer. History and philosophy are powerful tools for broadening perspective. Many of life's greatest challenges have been faced before by others throughout history. By studying the thoughts, strategies, and wisdom of great minds, philosophers, scientists, leaders, you gain insight into how different people have approached problems and decisions. Stoic philosophy, for example, teaches the art of detachment from negative emotions and focusing only on what you can control, a perspective shift that can dramatically improve your mental clarity. Similarly, Buddhist mindfulness practices emphasize observing thoughts without attachment, a method that helps clear mental clutter and reduce overthinking. Another way to expand your perspective is through mental time travel, the ability to zoom out from the present moment and view your life from different points in time. When facing a difficult decision or stressful situation, ask yourself, how will I view this in 5 years? What would my future self tell me to do? If I were advising a friend in this situation, what would I say? This simple mental shift removes short-term emotional bias and allows you to think with greater objectivity. Many problems that seem overwhelming in the present become much smaller when viewed through the lens of time. Gratitude is another powerful perspective shift that enhances clear thinking. Often, mental fog and overthinking are caused by focusing too much on what's missing, what's wrong, or what might go badly. But when you shift your focus to what is already good in your life, your mind becomes clearer, calmer, and more solution-oriented. A simple habit to practice is writing down 3 things you're grateful for every day. This trains your brain to see opportunities rather than obstacles. Letting go of control is another important lesson in perspective. Many people struggle with mental clarity because they try to control everything: their future, other people, every possible outcome. But the more you try to control things outside your influence, the more mental stress and confusion you create. A clear thinker understands that control is an illusion. Instead of wasting energy on what you can't change, focus on what you can: your actions, your mindset, your response to challenges. This shift in perspective reduces anxiety and frees up mental energy for productive thinking. The power of perspective also applies to how we see failure and setbacks. People with a narrow perspective view failure as a sign of incompetence or personal weakness, but those with a broad perspective see failure as a learning experience and a necessary part of growth. Instead of dwelling on mistakes, they ask, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? Every setback becomes an opportunity to refine thinking and decision-making. A useful practice for maintaining perspective is the zoom-out method. Whenever you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or emotionally clouded, imagine zooming out from your situation like a camera pulling back from a close-up shot to a wide-angle view. Instead of being consumed by the moment, picture your life from a higher perspective. Ask yourself, in the grand scheme of things, how significant is this problem? Most of the time, what feels like a huge issue in the moment is much smaller when viewed from a wider perspective. Simplicity and clarity often go hand in hand with perspective. Many times, confusion comes not from a lack of intelligence, but from looking at things in an unnecessarily complicated way. A great mental habit is to always ask yourself, what is the simplest way to view this? Instead of overcomplicating a problem, break it down into its most basic elements. Often, the clearest solution is also the simplest one. Another way to sharpen your perspective is by learning from adversity. Some of the most mentally strong and clear-thinking people have developed their mindset through challenges and hardships. Instead of seeing difficulties as obstacles, they see them as mental training grounds. Every time life throws a challenge at you, instead of reacting emotionally, take a step back and ask, what is this situation teaching me? How can I grow from this? Developing this mindset shifts your perspective from victim mentality to empowered thinking, strengthening your ability to think clearly in any situation. The power of perspective is about expanding your mind, seeing beyond immediate challenges, and developing the ability to think from multiple angles. When you broaden your perspective, you free yourself from the limitations of fear, doubt, and rigid thinking. You develop the ability to see situations clearly, make better decisions, and navigate life with greater wisdom and confidence. The greatest thinkers in history all had one thing in common. They trained themselves to see beyond the obvious, question assumptions, and expand their mental horizons. If you commit to continuously refining and broadening your perspective, your ability to think clearly will become one of your greatest strengths. Clear thinking isn't just about what's happening inside your mind. It's about how you view the world around you. Change your perspective, and you change your mind. Change your mind, and you change your life. Clear thinking is more than just a skill. It's a way of life. It is the foundation of smart decision-making, emotional control, mental resilience, and personal growth. When you master the ability to think clearly, you free yourself from the mental fog of overthinking, the paralysis of indecision, and the distractions of a chaotic world. You gain the power to navigate life with confidence, focus, and clarity. But clear thinking is not something you achieve once and never revisit. It's an ongoing practice, a discipline that must be nurtured daily. The modern world is filled with distractions, emotional triggers, and information overload that can cloud your judgment. If you don't actively work to maintain mental clarity, it's easy to slip back into old patterns of confusion, stress, and hesitation. Throughout this journey, we've explored the key principles of clear thinking, from decluttering your mind and breaking free from overthinking to mastering mental models, emotional control, and decision-making. We've uncovered the power of simplicity, the strength of mental discipline, and the importance of broadening your perspective. Each of these elements is a building block for a sharper, more focused mind. The good news is that you don't need to implement everything at once. Start small. Pick one habit, whether it's journaling your thoughts, practicing mindfulness, or reducing distractions, and integrate it into your daily routine. Over time, as these habits compound, you'll notice a significant transformation in your ability to process information, make confident choices, and remain calm under pressure. The clear thinker's mindset. At its core, clear thinking is about developing a calm and structured mind, one that isn't easily swayed by fear, stress, or external influences. It's about training yourself to pause before reacting, to question assumptions, and to simplify complexity rather than getting lost in unnecessary details. It's about shifting your perspective, seeing beyond immediate emotions, and making decisions that align with your long-term vision. The greatest thinkers throughout history, philosophers, scientists, innovators, and leaders, were not born with exceptional clarity. They trained themselves to think deeply, question relentlessly, and refine their perspectives over time. You have the same ability. Your next steps. As you move forward, remember, clear thinking is a journey, not a destination. You will have days when your mind feels sharp and focused, and other days when you struggle with distractions and mental fatigue. That's normal. The key is to stay committed to the process. Be intentional about what you allow into your mind. Choose knowledge over noise. Practice emotional control. Let logic guide your actions rather than impulsive reactions. Simplify whenever possible. The clearest solutions are often the simplest ones. Strengthen your mental discipline. Consistency leads to clarity. Expand your perspective. Challenge your own thinking and stay open to new insights. If you continue refining these habits, you will develop a mind that is resilient, focused, and powerful. A mind that doesn't get lost in confusion, but instead cuts through complexity with precision. A mind that is capable of seeing opportunities, solving problems, and making decisions with certainty. Clear thinking is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. It allows you to navigate life with wisdom, avoid unnecessary stress, and unlock your full potential. So take control of your thoughts, sharpen your mind, and step forward with clarity and confidence. Your future is shaped by how well you think. Master your thinking, and you will master your life.